Welcome to yet another tutorial series on MySQL. Today we are going to look at stored procedures with parameters. The last time we created simple stored procedures without parameters. Today we are going to create stored procedures that we can pass parameters and to give us some output. Usually stored procedures they have what three parameters mode. We have what the in parameter, that is what we are going to do today, and then we have the outs and then the in out. So we're treating them in separate videos. The out and the in out will be treated in separate videos. Okay, so let's jump straight to it. We are in my SQL workbench right now, and let's look at our navigate. We have a number of databases there. So we have four databases. So we are going to create the HR database. We are going to use the HR sample code in our LMS to create this. So I have the HR table here. So this is the code for the HR table. So let me. There are 7 tables here. So we are going to create the tables. Okay, but before that, we have to create a database. Okay, so we will call the database UPSADB. So let's say create schema. Create schema. We have what UPSADB. Okay. Um, let's end it with a semicolon. Then let's activate the schema. So we'll say use schema. So use UPSADB, straightforward. Yeah. Okay. So this command is going to activate it for us. All right. Yeah. But also at times you may want to be sure that you don't have the database already. Okay, there are times if you have the database already and you try to create it again, you run into an error. So what you can do is to say drop. So you can always start with what drop database or drop schema, whichever one you want to use. So drop database if exists. So let's bring that. So drop database if exists. Then you bring the database name, that is a UPSA DB. Okay, so this is going to first of all check to see if what this particular database called UPSA DB already exists. If it exists, it's going to delete it and then it will create a new UPSA DB and then activate it. So that is it. The rest of the code is okay. There are no issues there. The only thing you may have to do is if you copy it from um, the LMS, you should um, erase the integer the integer data sizes. You should erase them because that is becoming obsolete. They are going to be taken out in future. So let's take them out. Okay. I'm also going to attach a text file to this video so that those watching it on YouTube, you can also download the text file and then you can implement it on my SQL workbench. All right, so let's execute the code. All is good now. All right, so it's being executed. Okay, okay, that is going to take a while, some few minutes or split seconds perhaps. All right, so that is done, and then we now have our UPSA database created. But until we refresh the navigator, we are not going to see it. So I've refreshed it, and then it is there, and it is what active now because we what activated it in the third line here. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the stored procedures. At the moment, we don't have any stored procedures there. If we click we wouldn't see any stored procedures. But after we create stored procedure, you see that the stored procedures will be identified under stored procedures here. Okay, so now let's move to enter the data. The HR database has what sample data we have to enter. So this is the sample data as well. Everything is okay with it. There are no issues we have to fix. So let's go straight to execute that one as well. All right. So that is also going to be done in a few seconds. Okay, so at times it depends on your PC speed as well. All right, so that is done. Let's go to look at our database and then the tables. So we can say show database or show databases. Okay, so this is going to show us all the databases we have. Okay, so all right, so we have this number of what databases, and we have the UPSA databases there. So we can also show the tables in the UPSA database. So let's say show tables, show tables. Okay. All right, so these are the 7 tables we have in the UPSA database. Okay, so let's look at one of the tables. I'm interested in the employees table. Um, it is sort of the mother table or the parent table. So let's look at the parent table. So we can look at it by saying select. Okay, select all from employees. Select all from employees. Okay, so this is the employees table. We have our data already in it. Okay. So now, the next thing we'll do is to create a stored procedure that will allow us to um, combine the names. So when you look at the data we have or the records we have here, you can see that the first name is in a separate column, then the last name is in a separate column. But if we want to bring them together? So we are going to create a stored procedure that will bring these two names together, and then we are just going to select we are just going to write the full name. So when you are writing your full name, you put them together. Okay, so we are going to write the full name and then what also show their salaries, so the full name and the salary of the employee. So that is what we are going to do now. Let's create the stored procedure for that purpose. So usually with stored procedures, you start with what? A delimiter. Normally the delimiter is the symbol you use to end your SQL statements, and then in MySQL we use a semicolon. Okay, but when you are creating stored procedure, because inside the stored procedure we can have so many semicolons. Um, if we don't take time, those delimiters are going to terminate the stored procedure prematurely. So what we have to do is to define new delimiters such that the delimiters for the SQL statements, the multiple SQL statements that will be in the stored procedure, will not terminate the stored procedure, yeah, prematurely. Okay, so let's start by creating the delimiter. So let's say delimiter. So the delimiter, you can use any symbol at all you like. You can use the N sign here, or you can use the dollar sign. Okay, yeah, whichever one you want to use, or you can even use this backslashes here. Okay, so the next thing you do is to create the stored procedure. So we'll say create procedure. Then you bring the procedure name. So the procedure is going to call we are going to call it full name because it's a procedure that will combine names. Okay, yeah, or we can call it combine names. Okay, so combine. Okay, so let me get it right. Combine names. Okay, so this is a procedure that is going to allow us to combine names. Then we'll open our parentheses. That is where we are going to pass the arguments. And I said we are using the first mode, which is the in mode. So let's say in. So this in indicates that we are going to enter some parameters, or we are going to pass some parameters, yeah, into the procedure. Okay. Then you have to indicate um, the parameter you are going to pass in. Okay, so we can represent it with any string, or we can assign any string to it. Okay, so I'm going to call it var1. That is first variable of variable 1. Okay, so let's now indicate the data type. So the data type here should correspond with the data type of whatever argument you have in your table, and then you want to pass in the parameter here. So that is going to be the same data type. So in this parameter we are creating, we want to enter the student ID number. Say that when we enter the student ID number, the stored procedure is going to give out the student name, yeah, in full. So that's what we are going to do here. So the student ID number, if you look at our table, let's look at our table once more. Yeah, student ID number, the data type here. So we will have to describe the employees table. So let's describe the employees table. Okay, describe okay, employees. So this will allow us to see the data type. Okay, so the employee data type is integer. So it means the variable we are going to pass should be an integer variable. So let's close the parentheses, and then we'll go to begin our stored procedure. So let's begin. Sorry, let's begin. Okay, my key is not functioning properly. Let's begin. And then the stored procedure, we're going to concatenate. So we are combining two names or two things together. So we are concatenating. That is the meaning of that. So we use the concatenation function here. Okay, let's select concat. So select concat. Okay, so inside the concatenation parenthesis, we'll bring in the first name and the last name. Now you have to make sure you get it right. Okay, let's look at how the first name, this is how it's written, and the last name, this is how it's written. So we have to get it exact. And the salary, these are the fields we want to include. So let's go back, and then we'll add the first name. Okay, then we'll put a space in between here. So you put the space in quotes, and then we'll bring the last name. Okay, so this will combine it for us. Then we want it to be captured as what? Full name. So we'll say we'll use an alias here, so as full name. So let's say I can put that in quote as well. So full name. Okay, so this will what do that for us. It will what bring the name, the first and the last name together, and then what represent it as what? Full name, or under a field called full name. Okay, so now where are we selecting these names from? So we have to indicate that. So from what? Employees. So employees is the table where we are doing the selection from. Okay, all right, so now we are almost there. Yeah, so now we have to what? Equate the variable. Okay, so what the argument we are passing in, what does it mean, or which variable does it or which field does it represent in the table? So we'll say, yeah, var1, yeah, equal to what? Employee ID. So let's indicate that. So it's a condition, so we have to bring the where before. So where var1, yeah, equal to employee ID. Okay, so this is it. We can what terminate it here. So you can see that we are using a delimiter here. So if we fail to define the delimiter at the beginning, it means this particular delimiter will end it. But that is not the end of it. Yeah, it should end with what this. So this is how to end it. Okay. Yeah, but we can have what other statement here as well. Okay. Yeah. So let's end it here. So we'll bring out the limiters once more, and that is it. This is the stored procedure. But for stored procedure, I advise that we should always what look to see if it exists already before we what execute it. So let's say drop stored procedure. So drop procedure if exists. Yeah. So once you do this, you can always reuse the procedure. You can make modifications and reuse it easily. But if you don't do that, it means anytime you try to execute, make modification and try to execute it, you have to change the procedure name. Okay. All right. So let's say the procedure is called what combine. Yeah. All right. That should be in lowercase. Okay. Combine. Yeah. Names. Combine names. Okay. So that is the name of our procedure, and then let's end it with a semicolon. So what will happen is that it will first of all look through the database or the server to see whether this particular what procedure exists. Okay, so it will look through the database to see if the procedure exists. If it doesn't exist, then it will create it. But if it exists, it's going to delete it before it creates that procedure. Okay, so that is it. We can execute it now. Okay, so our procedure has been created successfully. Okay, so it means it's time for us to call the procedure. Let's let's go and call the procedure. Okay, so we can do that here. Okay, so let's call the procedure full combining names. So combine names. Okay. Now we have to open a braces for the parameters. So we want to call the ID of what the first employee. Okay, so you call this ID and then it will provide you with the names of what the name in full. Okay, so let's call the first ID 100, and then that will what provide us with the name in full. Okay, so all right, so it means my name is wrong. Okay, I think there is S here, so combine names. Let's look at the procedure. There should be S there, so it's case sensitive. Let's execute it once more. Okay, so you can see that it has combined the name for what Steve King, yeah, in one um, in one column called what full name. So that is the full name of Steve King. So assuming we change the ID and we call the second employee, yeah, the second employee is called Nina. Okay, so the name is shown there in full. Let's call the third employee here. Okay, so the third employee is called what? Alexander Hunald or whatever. All right, so that is it. We are calling what people's IDs, and it's providing us with their full name. That is a stored procedure we have created. So let's enhance this stored procedure a bit. We are going to make some modifications. So I want the salary to be added. Okay. All right, so we'll add the salary here. So let's say salary. Okay, so now it's going to show us the full name and the salary of that particular employee. All right, let's get back, and then before we go, we have to execute the stored procedure once more, and then we can go back to call. the stored procedure. So let's execute it once more. Now we have what? Alexander Hunold, and then the salary is what, 9,000. Let's look at Steve King. Steve King is 100, and then let's see. Okay, Steve King is taking 24,000. All right. So let's see the other employee. That is Nina, the second employee. Okay, she's taking 17,000. Okay, so that is the stored procedure, but we can see the names are all in what is in sentence keys. So at times, I mean, you can choose to make some of them uppercase or everything uppercase and so on. So let's do that, okay? Let's do that. Okay, so assuming you want to make something, you want to change the case of a string or some, yeah, information you have or some text you have. Let's what you can do is, it's so simple. You just add what upper to whatever you are trying to change the case. So you either say upper or you say what new case. So let's say upper. So we'll add upper to the first name. Yeah, but we have to put the first name in what parentheses here. Then so assuming we also want to make what the last name in, we want to turn it into lowercase, so we'll just say lower, and then we'll put it in parentheses as well. Okay, so you make sure every parenthesis you open, you also close it. So this is it. Let's create our stored procedure once more, and then we'll try it. Okay, that is done. Let's go and what call our, you can see the second what employee, the name and the salary. Now let's execute it, and the case will change. Okay. Okay, so now we can see let the him. Okay, let's go back to Steve King and then look at that employee as well. So Steve King, the name Steven is what in uppercase, and then King is in what lowercase. Okay, so we can make everything uppercase if we wanted to, or let's look at another employee with ID 107. Okay, so that is Diana Lawrence. Okay, yeah, the Diana Lawrence. So that is Diana is in what uppercase, and then the Lawrence, everything is in lowercase. All right, so let me modify that a bit to put everything in uppercase. That is just simple. I'll change this to upper. Okay, so we are going to execute it. Anytime you modify your stored procedure, you have to run it again. Okay. All right. So let's call the stored procedure once more. Okay. So now everything is in uppercase. Diana Lawrence. Let's call 105. Okay. So that is David Austin. Yeah, and the salary is 4,000. Yeah. So you can also add some other what columns here. Assuming you want to add the phone number, you can do that as well. So we have to go back to what the stored procedure, and then we'll add salary, then we add phone number. So you have to make sure that yeah, the phone number is correct or is spelled correctly, the header name or the full header name. So let's get it down there. Okay, now let's recreate our stored procedure. I can break this down here. Okay, so let's recreate our stored procedure, and then we can call it once more. Okay, so let's call David Austin. That is ID 105. Okay, so David, the name is in uppercase. We have what the salary, we have the phone number, and so on. Okay, yeah, let's see if we are passing another argument here. So assuming we want um, two employees to be displayed, let's call it to see if it works. All right, it's not going to work. It means we have to modify our what? Let's modify our procedure to take what two parameters. Okay, so let's say var1, yeah, and then okay. So we also want to say var 2. Perhaps we can say var 2, and then that will be integer as well. Okay. So I think we don't need a comma here. Alright, so perhaps we should separate them with commas. So we'll separate the two variables with commas. So we have two variables in there. Yeah, and then we have to come and modify here where var 1 and var 2. So let me use that and see if it doesn't work, then we'll see what we'll separate them here as well. So where var 1 and var 2, yeah, equal to what employee ID. Okay, so let's see if that is okay. Okay, the procedure is okay, but that doesn't mean that the syntax might be right. Okay, yeah, so we may be what syntactically correct but semantically wrong. Okay, at times you just want to experiment. So let's execute it once more. Okay, so you can see that it's still showing us for one, the parameter for one. Um, okay, so it's showing us what the parameter for Steve King. That is the later one. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it means you have to pass two arguments. Yeah, you have to pass two arguments. So let's say 101. Okay, so you can see the syntax was right. Yeah. Okay. So now let's use the OR operator here. The end means both conditions should be true. Yeah, but we can also use the OR operator here, and let's see what happens. Okay, so let's go back and call it. Okay, so now it has brought us a lot of what data here. Okay, so the OR operator is now also what working well for us. Yeah, so perhaps I mean it's bringing us starting from what ID 101 and then the next 100 records. Yeah, so that could be the interpretation. So yeah, we'll still look at. So yeah, that is the interpretation. Yeah, that is the interpretation. So this means that if we make here let's limit it to 3, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah, alright. So let's say we make here 3, and then here 3. So whatever parameter we pass, I mean, it's still so that means that we have to figure out what that syntax really means. It's doing something that yeah, I will have to investigate later, and then in our next video I will talk about this. Yeah, so sometimes it's good to explore and then learn new things. All right. So let me see if there is any other thing I can add to what so what of and if we decide to separate these two, so we are going to say where var1 equal to what employee. Okay, so let's say employee ID, and so let's use what and var2 equal to what employee ID. Okay, So I'm going to create the procedure once more. And this is still experimental. So let's put 100 here and then 103 here. Okay. So this time, I mean, we have no what information there. Perhaps we need to put something here. All right. Okay. So let me see. Okay. So okay. So I think I'll have to look at it and come back later. All right. Enough with the experimentation. So that is a stored procedure. Yeah. So that is a stored procedure. So we just maintain what only one variable for now. Just maintain only one variable, and then we create our stored procedure, and then what that is perfect for now. Okay. So let's get rid of this, and then we just stick to what calling one employee at a time. But we'll learn how to call what so many employees at a time. I think I have not what executed the stored procedure yet. Okay, so that is done. Now let's call the stored procedure once more. Okay, yeah, the space here is too much. See, that is a problem. So the stored procedure. So they are telling us an incorrect argument. So let's see um, what the issue could have been. So we have what where var1. Oh, okay, yeah, we have var1 and var2 here. So this is a problem. So I'll get rid of that. And now everything is fine. Let's create our procedure, and then we'll go back to what call the procedure. Okay, so it's perfect. Alright, so we are ending the tutorial here. I'll appreciate it if you can subscribe to the channel. That will help me to grow the channel. And then like the video. You can turn on the notification button as well. Alright, so see you in our next tutorial.